The excitement is building for one of the most anticipated movies of the year. The Hunger Games doesn't open until Friday, but fans young and old cannot wait, and neither can Hollywood, which hopes that the blockbuster brings in the Twilight-type numbers. Biad Shaban has the latest on the growing hysteria.
10, 9.
This week in Los Angeles, a lucky select few got a sneak peek at Hollywood's most anticipated film of the year.
1.
World premiere of The Hunger Games drew hundreds of rabid fans. Many camped out for more than a day.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see how it plays out.
The time has come.
The story takes place in a futuristic North America, where an oppressive government forces teenagers into mortal battle in an annually televised fight to the death.
And I was a huge fan of the books and of Suzanne Collins, the creator of this entire pandemonium and like that whole thing over there.
The movie is an adaptation of the best-selling book trilogy. With a trio of emerging stars and a projected opening weekend of at least $100 million, The Hunger Games could top the blockbuster Twilight saga. With its stars everywhere, from the red carpet to the cover of magazines, The Hunger Games looks like the meal ticket for a Hollywood starving.
Make sure they remember you.
For a hit. For CBS This Morning Saturday, I'm Biad Shaban in Los Angeles.
Marisa Guthrie is senior writer for The Hollywood Reporter. Marisa, The Hunger Games obviously has this huge fan base. I am 10 pages into the book, so I have a little reading to do. But what is the appeal all about? Why are so many people talking about this?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, there are so many themes that are resonant now. Self-sufficiency, individualism, social tyranny, which is always resonant for anyone who's ever been to high school. So it really has a lot of themes that resonate. Also in a recession, you know, she's a hunter, she's self-sufficient, individualism. So it has a lot of gravity and weight at this time.
And now we're talking about the level of weight that Twilight had, maybe even more. And you were talking to me in the break that this actually appeals to an even broader audience.
Well, the Twilight movie skewed very female because it really, at its heart, it was a love triangle, a romance. There's a love triangle in The Hunger Games, but there's also some violence, and there are those. It's a much darker, more sinister movie, so it will appeal to older audiences. It will also appeal to young men, where Twilight was really about the girls who wanted to go and see, you know, the cute guys.
I was curious about that. I mean, Twilight is a little campy in parts, and this, just from starting the book, it does seem pretty dark. It got a PG-13 rating, but like, who is this appropriate for?
Well, the book is more violent than the movie. They did tone down the violence in the movie. They needed that PG-13 rating because they do want teenagers to get into the seats.
They also got a lot of big names involved: Elizabeth Banks, Woody Harrelson, Lenny Kravitz. But there's a lot of talk that maybe this is going to be more about the breakout stars, the young people who are starring in this film that we haven't heard a lot about in the past.
Right. I mean, certainly Jennifer Lawrence has had her breakout film in Winter's Bone, but that was an indie. This is going to be huge for her. This is going to give her millions of new fans. And Josh Hutcherson and Liam Hemsworth are unknowns. And so they are going to be the breakout stars of this film.
The other star of this, of course, is the author, Suzanne Collins. She's this suburban mom from Connecticut, which I just think is fascinating. How is she kind of handling this tidal wave that this movie is now going to create?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, she wrote The Hunger Games as a comment on her distaste for media and for reality television. And here she is in the middle of this media storm. I mean, the books were already successful. The movies will make the books even more successful. And I think she'll find a way to cope with all of the attention.
Will she turn the attention down as a result of that distaste?
Well, I think you can't. You have to sort of embrace a certain amount of it. Her life is going to change.
Yeah, it certainly feels like it's going to change if this is going to get the kind of numbers that Twilight did, or maybe even more.
Yeah.
Marisa Guthrie, thanks so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.